Join me as we talk all things true crime.
Made contact and shattered.
The missing 4-year-old. The parents have called in and that the mother has went for a walk, came home, now they can't find her.
Chad, where are Lori's kids? They've been missing for 4 months. You have nothing to say?
4 were stabbed multiple times and were likely asleep during the attack. Some had defensive wounds.
Most of them had just like one that was the lethal stab wound.
Oh, what a tangled web we weave. Once I told a lie, and I told my family, I had to keep lying.
McSherman is a demon.
We haven't cleared anybody.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome to another ATS News live stream. We've got some tea being handed out by Johnny Kramer. Thank you so much. And Johnny, let me know if the sound is good. Hey, Adrian, Planet Jace, B and Bio Girl. Good to see you guys. Carol freaking Claus. Derek is here. Tony's here. Karen's here. Liz. Hi, everybody. Hi, Donna. So if you haven't subscribed or hit like, please do so. Hello, Jen, Pointer Lover. All my friends are here. Dustin's here. Hey, guys. Zoe is making stuffed mushrooms, and I'm jealous because they sound delicious. Hey, Angela. Debbie Fox is here. All right, so I have a recent article to share with you guys. This was posted about a week ago. Looks like the New York Post is posting it. And it says, Chris Watts, who murdered wife and smothered his little girls as they begged for mercy, lives in fear of fellow inmates. They want to kill him. So let's see what this is all about. All right, just making sure I got the go ahead with the sound. Everyone says this sound is good. Hello, M. Johnson, Kent. Hello. Thank you, Adrian. Okay. So before we get into our recap of the FBI interview, we'll cover some details. We'll share a little stream that Shanann had put up, and we'll get into it. All right. So like I said, this was posted on the 4th of July this year. Chris Watts is in a hell of his own making as he serves a life sentence in a small cell in a Dodge Correctional Institution in Waupun, Wisconsin. He hardly talks to anyone, instead choosing to read his Bible and to ponder the wife and 2 young daughters he ruthlessly murdered in 2018. And let's not forget, the wife was also pregnant. I think Nico kind of gets bypassed in a lot of articles and discussions with this case. The Post has spoken to 3 people who've had contact with a 39-year-old killer behind bars, and they all say he lives a sedentary lifestyle, has gained significant weight, and has lost most of his hair. See, we know that that's actually not true because the most recent picture that we shared of him was a couple weeks ago. It's on a thumbnail, and he has pretty much the same amount of hair. And he doesn't look overweight. And I know from a source that, you know, we've kind of spoken to during all my deep dives that he's, you know, he's not in shape like he used to be, but he's not gaining a bunch of weight. What's more, the triple murderer often avoids eye contact with other inmates for his own safety. Now, that much I do believe. When he attends Bible studies, he often keeps to himself and doesn't talk to new people. A lot of guys would like to get their hands on him, said Eddie Neves, who spent a year at prison alongside Watts. He killed 2 girls who didn't do nothing to deserve it. He's the lowest of the low at Dodge. A lot of people want to get the revenge for those girls. And what about Nico, the baby? Watts admitted to strangling his pregnant wife, Shanann, in their Colorado home in August 2018. He then drove her body to a job site at the oil company where he worked and disposed of it. He returned home, then smothered his daughters. This is all out of sorts because we know that the girls went in the truck with him and they died not at home. So this article is as little girls begged for mercy, and somehow they know that. After he pleaded guilty and was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, Colorado prison officials arranged to have him transferred to Wisconsin for his own safety. They protect him at Dodge, Neves continues. If the guards weren't always around, everyone would take a swing at him. Those sentiments are echoed by Watts' former cellmate from 2018 to 2020, who said that Watts is often in danger behind bars. He's an outcast, said Dylan Tallman, who worked on a yet unpublished devotional book with Watts. And we know that that is now published, and then he republished it without Chris as the co-author. So we've covered all that already on this channel. If you guys haven't seen it, you'd have to go back to the playlist. When people found out that his victims were 2 little girls, and what about his pregnant wife? They wanted to kill him. He had nowhere else to turn. I think I was his only friend. Authorities said Watts committed the murders because he was having an affair with Nicole Kessinger, a co-worker who would later claim that she thought he was already separated. Every day he thinks about what he did, Tallman said. He has photos of the girls and he prays for forgiveness every day, but he knows he can't undo what he did. A spokesperson for the Wisconsin Department of Corrections said that Watts has no scheduled visitors for several weeks. He occasionally receives a pastoral visit. His mother visited him earlier this year. However, Watts has several prison pen pals, mostly women. And then, of course, there's Dylan. At times, he would talk about the murders. His eyes would turn black. His one-time pen pal, Cato, told Inside Edition in 2021. Well, she's a liar, but he would just get a different look on his face. And he talked about it so nonchalantly, like going down to get a cup of coffee. He's effed in the head, added Neves. When you're in prison with a lot of guys who did really bad things, you're still considered the worst person there. You're just evil. And that is the end of that article. So hold on, let me pull up the picture of him, the most recent one that we have, which was done with the prison, kind of like an updated mugshot. Hold on, zooming in. It was on my community page, but it's probably long gone. But hold on, let me just share my screen. It's on my thumbnail. See, 2024, not losing most of his hair. In fact, hang on. I think I show it on this thread. Right here. So weight 190. I mean, he's 5'10". He's still under 200 pounds. So I'm not really sure where that whole source is saying that he's gained a bunch of weight and barely has any hair. I mean, he has always had this receding hairline. We know that. But I mean, I definitely don't believe every word that article was saying. Interesting, though. All right. So that was the latest. That's the latest that mainstream media is reporting on Chris. Personally, from everything that I've heard from my source, he's incredibly comfortable and it seems content with being in prison. Much better than in solitary confinement like he was in Colorado. In fact, from my understanding is he's very much afraid of going back to Colorado because of the conditions that were so awful. All right, so this was posted April 27th, 2018. Taste tester with Addie, Vicky, lemon meringue, and cookies and cream. So the reason why I want to share this was before she knew she was pregnant. This is, she's with people who were in the discovery files that we've been sourcing. So her friend Addie has commented in there. Her friend Cassie has commented in these discovery files that we've been going through. And so you'll get like a face to the names that we've kind of been reading about for the past, couple months that we've been deep diving. Which one being Bio Girl? The one today, I was not there. I was actually moderating already for criminality. And hello, Angie Erickson, Bella, good to see you guys. He would rather be in prison than being married to Shanann, in my opinion. Yeah, it seems so. In my opinion, he's not attractive at all. Right. Right. Ronnie still has a full head of hair, so I highly doubt he's going bald. Right. I don't know where those sources were coming from. Like taking a yearbook photo, literally. It's so weird and cringe. What was his weight when he was arrested? I want to say in 180-ish. But the thing is, muscle weighs more than fat, and he was pretty shredded. He looks the same. Stupid smile. Yeah, I agree. So New York Post, you don't know what you're talking about, it seems. I think Zawoki has that photo. He definitely does. He's in my Facebook group. Yeah, it does sound like it was written by AI. And who are these inmates? That naive guy or whatever? Never heard of him. Yeah, he looks so happy. I'm telling you, he is. So the fact that they're reporting he's in fear of his life, I don't believe it. I don't believe it at all. He can come and go as he pleases. We've reported here. They don't even lock his cell door. He's got a bulletin board in his cell that him and his roommate just pin up pictures of girls that send them stuff and nice mail that he gets. His parents visit him often. They call him daily. He's living a very cushy life behind there from everything I've heard. He's got a stocked commissary. He's got money there. So I don't believe at all that he's in fear for his life. Oh, really? Yeah, I seen numerous YouTubers kind of cover that article, ones that I've never even heard of. And they were all like, yes, he's in fear. Watts is in fear. And I don't believe it. Not at all. It's very laid back where he is. They all have jobs in the quarters that he's at. There are obviously some bad inmates that he's, serving time with, but it doesn't seem like they're after him at all. His mother told him God has a plan for him in there. I'm sure God does, but I'm sure he would appreciate if he told his mother the truth too. He's got it made better than a lot of people have it in prison. Yep. It's so true. Happy days in Dodge, evidently. Hey, Florida Bass Fishing. Oh, thank you so much for becoming a member, Jody Lynn. Appreciate you. All right. God's plan is to be, or his plan is to be Bubba's bitch. Seems like Dylan and him, from all the rumors, I don't know what's going on, but now they're on the outs. Hey, Tyler. All right. Patricia said, I wish we knew who Shanann's friend was that went to the hibachi dinner place and talked to the lawyer with. How come no one in her circle has come forward to say that was them? She talking about the divorce. So I have a prediction of who it is, but just like you just stated, it's interesting how they've never come out saying it was them. Maybe because it doesn't shed a good light on Shanann that she was looking into divorce like before everything happened. But the lawyer described her friend as having unique eyes and a long, flowy skirt or dress. So through some deep dive in and just following the case, I know that she had one friend that she spoke to a lot. However, this friend at the time lived in Oklahoma and North Carolina. So I don't know if she ever visited around that time, but I will say that she has unique eyes because of her ethnicity. And I don't want to say her name because I can't be 100% sure, but her husband was also in Thrive with Shanann. And this wife, her friend, is in a lot of the live streams. Like she'll pop up and you'll hear Shanann say hi to her. And she sold LuLaRoe. So the reason why I think this whole flowy dress or skirt that she was wearing is significant to the lawyer is because it kind of matched that style of LuLaRoe. So if you guys can figure it out, more power to you, but I don't want to say the name and not be 100%. You think that it was Christina? Could be. Yeah, so let's watch this little video. Again, I like to get a little taste for the timeline that Shanann's sharing. Again, this is the year that she was murdered, months prior, before she goes to North Carolina. She's on her Thrive trip. No, I don't think it's Christina. It could be. Again, I can't be certain. Just B has stated it in chat. I'm not going to pull up her comment, but somebody in chat has guessed it. That's who I think it was, personally. Just because of the description of the eyes and the outfit.
Oh, here, keep that for you.
All right, everybody. So we're waiting for one more person. We have Addie Maloney. Ah. We have Vicky. Hi. Michelle. Michelle. Not me. And hey. Oh, hey, girl. Hey, girl. Hey. And Elaine. I'm good, darling. Hey. So, and Cassie. What? Okay, we're about to do taste test. Have you tried these yet? No. Okay, hold on. We're doing taste test and you're live. I have got Well, they need this for Cindy.
Well, then you need to spit it out. She's doing it? I just put it under focus with her napkin.
No,
am I taste testing these?
I was going to use them, but you can have them because I already tried them. I was just getting more because they were really good. Ready?
Lemon meringue.
All right, let's try lemon first, you guys.
Oh, okay. Lemon?
Oh, no, let's do chocolate first.
Yeah, do the chocolate first. Now I already did.
Oh, lemon then. Lemon it is.
Okay, lemon.
Sorry.
Oh, do we switch your mind again? Hold on, let me smell it. Wow. Oh my God.
Isn't it delicious?
I think I'm kind of in love with the lemon.
Right? What's it taste like to you?
Oh my gosh. You know those lemon squares?
Yes.
A little bit like a lemon square, but with like a, I'm going to get all like foodie on you guys, with like a cream cheese frosting kind of, but good for you.
Yeah.
Right?
So good.
I definitely taste the zest.
And this is the cookies and cream.
Wait.
I have to eat.
These actually remind me of the lemon Girl Scout cookies that just came out.
Yeah. I love how refreshing it is on the palate. That's my favorite.
And that's what we were talking about, that we were hoping the lemon would be refreshing.
Right. It is so refreshing for summer.
Really light.
Yeah. Okay, ready? Cookies and cream. Elaine wants to try it? Yeah. I already tried it this morning, so got it.
Oh my God, I gotta cleanse. Cheers.
The girls do that every time they eat now. They go cheers.
OMG.
Right? It is like a perfect snack for like at the end of the day when you're craving that chocolate cake.
Now, again, the girls that are being pictured are ones that we've read about, their interviews, their text to Chris the day Shanann was missing, Addie and Cassie shown. So, and thank you so much, Derek. Perfect timing. I just paused it, so I'm able to thank you for gifting the memberships, and welcome to those new members. Please feel free to thank Derek as well. He's still in chat. If you received a membership, and I saw Alex Erickson popped in, good to see you, and great coverage on Dylan Tallman's book. Very interesting information coming out for sure. So excellent. And I'm curious, I didn't get to watch your live, Alex. I was moderating already for criminality down the Karen Reed rabbit hole, so I kind of didn't jump out, but did you believe that New York Post article about Chris being in fear for his life?
And you're live.
Wow.
Oh my God, my son has been busting for these, and he's
So did I.
gonna love them.
Aren't they so awesome?
My kids
are
going
going
to
to
enjoy
enjoy
this. Yeah,
Get it,
for
Vicky.
sure.
Addie, what do you think it tastes like? It does. It tastes like chocolate cake, like a brownie. Yes.
So good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I like. There's like little crunchies.
Yeah.
I didn't think I was gonna like cookies and cream.
Like
I really want to. I like it.
yeah.
Like in a Carvel ice cream cake. You know,
Yes,
the little crunchies.
yes.
They're really good. That's really good. Yeah.
Cindy, what do you think?
I didn't think I'd like the cookies. Love it.
So I want your description.
Of
Do the
this
description.
one, I mean, I think her description of the crunchies and the like Dairy Queen cake or the Carvel cake is dead on. So
It's
good.
all gone.
I like that. I just keep going back to the
I
lemon
think that
though.
my
The
favorite
lemon is
lemon
just
is pretty good.
so
Yeah.
fresh.
Like,
All right.
It's inappropriate to go over there and not.
Bye. Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Hi, everybody. No, let's go for seconds.
I know, right? Everyone's gone to get ready for Lenny. All right, everybody. So that's more taste testers. We'll be back later with more. Bye. So stay tuned. Bye.
All right. And exactly like Tony said, as much as people frown upon what she did, like the MLM and in general, Shanann enjoyed her life, in my opinion, and I agree. Cindy says the Thrive shakes taste like Slim Fast. I like Slim Fast. I've always been curious about Thrive, but I'm never going to jump and buy it or anything. All right, so let's get into what we came here for, the interview. So we have quite a bit left, over an hour, and we will definitely not finish it all tonight. So I'm predicting another part for this. Alex said, yes and no. Dylan claimed he didn't talk to the Post, but they quoted him, so I don't believe that part. But I don't know why. Yeah, that was weird. Like and then also that article came out July 4th, and they said that he co-authored that devotional book with Watts, soon to come out or something, like worded it in a way that it wasn't published yet, but it's been published because we've been talking about that for months now. So I don't know. The information sounded, I don't know, old from Dylan's perspective. Alex says she's done Thrive. Why is it not letting me pull your comment up? There we go. Oh, did you like it? I'm really curious. I know that a lot of people like it. Miranda says I'm on Thrive and I like it. One of my moderators, Allison, sells it too. Shanann's parents lived with her for a few years. Yes, around the time that Cece was born, they came to live with them. I can't remember the exact time frame, but it was right around that time. And then, let's see, Cece was 3 years old when she passed. So I can't remember exactly when they left. I want to say 2017, but I can't be 100%. I didn't we read through it. I was kind of I just don't believe it. Like, we remember the information that came out and the picture that came out about him recently, the mugshot, and it had all his stats, height and weight. I mean, he's not overweight according to that, the prison records, and he's not losing his hair like they stated. So I don't think that he's in fear for his life from my inside source from the prison. At first, Thrive gave me lots of energy, but then it wore off. It didn't work for me anymore. Interesting. All right, so let's just pull this up.
What about the girls?
So pretty much Coder, where we left off, was pretty much saying that he thought that it was BS what Chris was trying to spin to him. Like about like, oh, I've never cheated. And I know Shanann's never cheated. And if she has, like, I would think that we would come to each other first and talk to each other first about it. And Coder's like, I think that's a bunch of crap. And then he was also saying, like, so why are you falling out of love with your wife? And then Chris went into this whole detailed thing, like, we're just not compatible. It's like I was walking on eggshells around her. And Coder's like, but why? But why? Like, just, you know, not really buying it. So we'll get back into this, and I'll pause it when need be. You guys share your comments as well.
Bella and Celeste are the light of my life. I'd do anything for those girls. I'd step in front of a bullet so in front of a train for those girls.
It doesn't add up to me, then why did it spark that?
The relationship between me and Shanann has nothing to do with the love I have for these girls. I mean, the love for these girls, they're the light of my life. I would do anything for them. Mm-hmm. But me and Shanann talked about, like, if we separated or if we stay together, like, what's best for the kids? Like, do we stay together for the kids? That, you look it up, it doesn't work that way. Like, it might cause more issues for the kids later on down the road with their psyche or personality or something. They know when they get older, they see, like, oh, mom and dad don't sleep in the same room anymore, like, what's going on, type thing.
Okay. If you had to guess, if you had to put your finger on it, if you had to, you know, why do two people that are hot and heavy, that have kids that they love, what happened?
I mean, you can't take the kids into the factor because, like, when the love you have for your kids is going to be, like, exponential. I mean, it'll, no matter what, that will never die. Because those are your kids. That'll never die.
Right, but you're also conceiving another child with your wife. Within the 6 months of this interview, they have conceived Nico, which allegedly was Chris's idea. Thank you so much, Jen, for gifting 5 memberships. Welcome to those members. Thank you so much. Why didn't you implicate your skanky empanada, aka mistress, for your girls if they're your whole world? Right. If you would step in front of a train and in front of a bullet for them, you know, what's going on? Like, why would you destroy their home life to begin with and start things up with NK? He hated Shanann more than he liked NK, in my opinion. Very interesting, Derek. I agree with that. I really do, because remember his searches, how to know when you're in love. Another thing that kind of leads to that as well is, remember when in the prison interview, he talks to them about an argument that he had with NK on the 4th of July. Shanann was calling him over and over. He had fallen asleep at NK's house. He went outside to answer it, and she's like, what's going on? Where are you? And he's like, oh, you know, made up some lie, I'm sure. And got off the phone with Shanann and went in and told NK, like, I gotta go. And she said, while she was in the shower, are you coming back? And he's like, probably not. So I think that once he was, like, backed up in that corner on that specific day and heard how angry and, like, shocked and everything that Shanann was, that she couldn't get a hold of him and is, like, confused, like, what's going on? I think he was like, what am I doing? Like, I need to go now. Like, this is it. I'm not coming back. And then we find out NK goes to his house. So they get in that argument, and it seems as though NK wasn't going to let it go and went over to his house. So I agree. He wasn't as into NK as NK portrays it to everybody, in my opinion. And let's not forget, NK's the one searching wedding dresses for hours on end. And Chris is over there searching how to know when you're in love or not. So something wasn't adding up. One thing we do know is he had a full-on involvement with Shanann's demise, in my opinion. Whether or not he physically did it or he was just planning it with others and had help doing it. I just think that, like you said, he was done with Shanann and that was it. But I really don't think that he thought him and NK were going to run away together. Some people do. I just don't see that. And I also think that NK would have been done with him as well, like after a while. He loves to give subtle hints when speaking to people and keeping them guessing. Yep.
Between you and your wife, like the love that you have for each other, like from start to finish, like from right when you started to wherever if your relationship ends, like when you're in that type of relationship, you're with somebody for that long, something happens, like something, like if it's just conversations or if it's just like, you know, I mean, it's not attractiveness at all, like it's just a connection that isn't there. Like, you know, when you can like look at someone and or just like put your forehead to their forehead and you just like hold them and you know what each other's thinking. That's a connection. I didn't have that connection anymore.
You put your forehead to forehead with someone and you just know what they're thinking. I didn't have that anymore. Well, marriage takes a lot of work, communication, etc. Tony says, I don't think he ever loved Shanann, in my opinion. And then Miranda says, I don't think he ever loved anyone. And you know what's interesting too is, yes, Adrian, he was a freeloader, in my opinion. What did Shanann have to offer to Chris before they ever got married? Regular sex. I mean, what man isn't going to want, you know, a steady sex life, you know? I know that that sounds harsh to say, but I just knowing Chris, I mean, I think that it's true what you guys are saying. He never loved her. He liked what he could get from her. And in another reason why I believe that is in the prison interview when they're discussing, you know, Shanann, he says that he misses her cooking. Like he talked more about missing her cooking and what she made to eat than he did about, you know, missing her. So I think that it had a lot to do, like his definition and value of Shanann was based off of what can I get from her? What does she do for me? And then especially once she's gone in North Carolina for those 6 weeks, it was easy for him to kind of forget about all that because someone else had stepped in and was filling his needs. And then he realizes, like, I don't need the other one. I got this one. So I don't know. Definitely agree with what you're saying. Jen, thank you so much. Gifting 5 memberships. Welcome, 5 more members. I appreciate that so much, Jen. And if you guys got one, please thank Jen. Yeah, I don't think he's ever loved anyone. I agree. I wonder too, like, how do you love and respect your parents and not tell them the truth? They all claim that they have no idea what's going on as far as that night and why he did everything he did. I've been digging more. It kind of seems like this affair is a bit staged. Interesting. I will never get over her searches, including searching Shanann and Chris. Right. And let's not forget, she searched Chris first. So that's where it really confuses me, because we've already racked our brains like, oh, she might have met Shanann at that hospital that she worked at when they did that. What was it called? It's almost like the Strong Woman contest that Shanann was in. It was funded by the hospital, supposedly, that she worked at. And then we were like, well, maybe they met through Thrive and she was buying Thrive off of Shanann. But all that is kind of doesn't make sense if she's searching Chris a month before she ever started searching Shanann. It's just very weird. And that's why I think a lot of people think that they met at a gym, NK and Chris. Thank you very much, Florida. Yeah, hit that like if you haven't done so. Shocking, Chris. People aren't telepathic. How awkward. Right. I wonder what Coder was thinking, like forehead to forehead with someone. So that's how you determined that you're not compatible anymore. You couldn't read their mind. Like, what the heck? Chris is the kind of partner you have to be on top of all the time. And NK was already having issues getting him to focus solely on her needs. Even when they were together, he was distracted by his family. Right. She complained to her girlfriend, Charlotte, he's all about his kids. And Charlotte says, well, it's a package deal. You know, That's what you have to deal with if you're dating a man with kids. So, and she says, remember in her interview with Kobach, something along the lines of, he could just talk to me whenever he needed to. So that's why I thought that they were getting separated, because it was never like he didn't have like a minute to talk. And then she changes that a little bit and she says, but sometimes it would get frustrating, you know, with the kids. Like I'd have to wait. It's like, yeah, you got to wait. You're not number one. And Kimmy, thank you so much for the super sticker. Appreciate that. Yeah, I do too. I lean towards them meeting at a gym. I do.
Okay. What do I do to help you walk out of this room and not look like the person who's responsible?
You have to trust me that when I tell you that these two beautiful girls right here, I did nothing to them, and to my beautiful wife, I did nothing to her. Like, you have to trust me and believe me. Like, I know you don't know me as a person. You've known me for like 2.5, 3 hours, and I don't know what your opinion is, but you have to realize that these two beautiful girls right here and my wife, I had nothing to do with the disappearance.
And once again, we pointed this out before. Shanann is always an afterthought when Chris is talking on the porch interview, when he's talking to Coder, when he talks to Tammy. It's always, I didn't hurt my girls. I didn't do anything to my girls. And Shanann, my wife, and Shanann. It's always like, it's never Shanann first and then the kids, or it's never them all together. It's always Shanann's the afterthought, which is, for me, it might be me reading into it too much, but it just seems like that's where Shanann sits in his mind. Like, she wasn't as important. And this is another reason why I don't think that the kids were part of his plan, personally. I just think, you know, he's trying to hide the fact that Shanann was in his plans, that he did have a direct involvement with Shanann's. So I don't know if you guys understand what I'm saying or not, but just his verbiage. Hey, Roxanne, good to see you.
Like, they vanished, they were taken, someone has taken them, they're safe somewhere, we don't know. I had nothing to do with this act of like evil cruelty, whatever has happened here.
And interesting that he says evil, because he mentions that more than once, the word evil act. And then he just said, if somebody has taken them and we don't know. Again, we've talked about this before, not a popular theory, but I'm rewinding it a little bit. Is it possible, and this is where I lose people, but a lot of you guys understand me, that he thought the children at least might have still been alive at this point. And this is solely based off of the theory that others are involved. Now, they could be deceased and he doesn't know it in an alternative theory.
Between you and your wife, like, the love that you have for each other, like, from start to finish, like, from right when you started to wherever if your relationship ends, like, when you're in that type of relationship, you're with somebody for that long, something happens, like, something, like, if it's just conversations, or if it's just, like, you know, I mean, it's not attractiveness at all, like, it's just a connection that isn't there. Like, you know, when you can, like, look at someone and, or just, like, put your forehead to their forehead and you just, like, hold them and you know what each other's thinking. That's a connection. I didn't have that connection anymore.
Okay. What do I do to help you walk out of this room and not look like the person who's responsible?
You have to trust me that when I tell you that these two beautiful girls right here, I did nothing to them, and to my beautiful wife, I did nothing to her. Like, you have to trust me and believe me. Like, I know you don't know me as a person. You've known me for like 2.5, 3 hours. And I don't know what your opinion is, but you have to realize that these two beautiful girls right here and my wife, I had nothing to do with the disappearance. Like, they vanished, they were taken, someone has taken them, they're safe somewhere, we don't know.
They vanished, they were taken, someone has taken them somewhere, we don't know. Like you just said, Kristen, he says, we don't know, not I don't know. But yeah, I mean, this goes back to what we always say. There somewhat truth sprinkles through the lies. Unfortunately, we never know what's the truth and what's the lie. So we kind of pick and choose, like, oh, maybe that was true. Like when he says, the only way that she could have left is if somebody took her out the back because my neighbor's camera didn't catch anything. Now that could be true. And he says, our windows, and this is to Tammy, we haven't gotten there yet in that interview. The windows in the basement are ground level. You can just walk right in. Now that to me is possibly how they entered the house. And yes, she was taken out the back. And now here, someone's taken them, kind of reiterating what he says in the porch interview. He says things like that in his porch interview for the media. If somebody has them, please return them. I just want those kids to come running through the door and barrel hug me, and Shanann too. Yeah, he says little truths within his lies, and that's the thing. It's like, what do we believe? You know, yeah, you got to trust me. Right. That's something that we know we can't do, Chris, at all.
I had nothing to do with this act of like evil cruelty, whatever has happened here. Because my love for these two girls and my wife, like, I don't want anything to happen to them. I've never wanted anything to happen to them. No matter if me and my wife separate or not, or divorce or anything, I never wish harm on anybody, on a human being in general.
Okay.
Like, just seeing that picture, like, I want them just to run through that front door and just grab me, or just just tackle me, knock me to the floor, bust my head up, I don't care. The amount of love I have for my family is exponential, and it's never gonna die.
It's never gonna die. I wanted to pull up, first off, Derek, 33 months. I wonder if you're my first member. Last night, Pointer Lover in my live stream had 24 months, and I thought that was impressive. But 33, I don't know if I've seen one longer. So thank you so much for being around that long. I appreciate you. Angela, what did you say about the explosion? Okay. Angela says, there was an explosion here in Oklahoma at a gas rig yesterday. Of course, my mind goes to this case. Several workers were injured. I'm not sure if any passed. Well, I hope nobody passed, but I will say that kind of adds to the explosion theory being probable. Remember, Troy sends Chris an oil rig explosion article or video news article in their text thread, and that was in Kansas. So if you're in a state that has heavy, oil rigging, Texas, Kansas, Oklahoma, Colorado, it's something, unfortunately, that happens, from time to time, and it's very, very dangerous, which kind of plays into the theory of if it did happen in this case, which the whole thing is it never got to that because Nicole Atkinson showed up. It would have been looked at as like, oh, wow, yeah, we have record here because they had a paper trail already with Troy involved, the coworker, in this paper trail documenting the oil leak that was taking place. So if something did happen, would it have been looked at as like, this is suspicious? Or would it have been looked at as, oh, another oil rig explosion? Oh, what do you know? Hey, Melly, glad you made it. Or would be like, kind of like, well, we did find out that, there was an oil leak here. And yeah, this makes sense that this explosion happened. How unfortunate. Again, it's a theory. Mundy says, thank you again for recommending Duty Ron. That channel's conversation was truly engaging. Yes. I'm so glad you guys jumped over there last night.
And I want them back.
Okay.
I have to have them back.
Then they just have this stare down contest with the clock clocking. Yes, thank you, Florida. 127 likes. Come on, now we have to break 200. Smash that like button. Thank you. And yes, Liz, thank you so much. 5 months member. Appreciate you. Thank you for everything you do, ATS. No problem. Hey, Allison. Everyone else who's joined, thank you guys so much for being here.
Tell me about a normal day in your house.
So like one when I'm actually at home all day.
You know, let's pick a day.
Okay,
2 months ago.
Let's pick a Saturday.
Let's pick a school day.
A school day. Okay. So, well, I'm usually at work.
Okay.
But so usually
on their lives and your lives.
Okay. So school day. So I'll get up about 4 o'clock. I'll go down, work out for maybe about an hour or so.
At your house?
Yeah, it's a weight bench in the basement.
Okay.
So get done with that, come back upstairs, probably about 5 o'clock. I'll eat some breakfast, make some eggs, cottage cheese or something like that. Everybody's still sleeping. I'll make the girls milk. I'll make Cece's milk. I'll bring it upstairs. Bella's usually kind of iffy on milk in the morning, so I just fill up the water bottles, put it in the refrigerator. Make sure the backpacks have change clothes, their hat, and if it's like a swim, like a water day or something, make sure they have water shoes in there, make sure they have sunscreen, make sure that all that in their backpacks.
Change clothes for what?
In case they have an accident. Like,
oh, okay, because they're little, yeah. Okay.
And not much Bella, but Celeste.
Sure.
And make sure they have their little blankies if they, whenever they go nap.
Okay.
They have all that with them. I have that all laid out, and then I go to work. So when the kids dictate when Shanann wakes up, and usually it's Bella. She'll come in there, lay in the bed with her, and then Celeste, she'll wake up, she'll come in and lay in the bed with her, and they'll watch cartoons for a little while at least. And probably about 6:30 she'll probably be in the bathroom at this point in time while they're watching, because Celeste has her milk at that point in time, and she's just chilling in the bed.
Okay.
Shanann's getting ready. She'd probably take a shower, put makeup on, all that kind of stuff, and then takes the kids over into their rooms, gets them dressed out of their pajamas, and Bella has a school uniform. Cece didn't have one yet, so get them dressed, go downstairs, have breakfast. Cece will probably have cereal. Bella probably some like cinnamon toast. Have that. They might have a little snack on the way to school, maybe some dry cereal or something. Okay. Put them in the cars and go to school. And then they'll stay at school usually till about...
Exactly, Liz. Something that has taken time to kind of not figure out, but just kind of notice. Same when he's talking to Tammy. It's just free-flowing, no uses of like, and then once a hard question comes around, when he's got to cover his tracks and lie, that's when the likes come flying. Adrian says, how can he be so calm? Right. And this is where it comes in, where people, well, he's cold-hearted psychopath, he's a sociopath, he's a narcissist, he didn't care about them, he didn't love them. All that can be true, right? Or is it, again, without the time of death or without 100% investigation completed in this case or a trial, could it also be an alternative theory that he assumed the children might have still been alive? Not Shanann, because he definitely planned her demise and was done with her, in my opinion. Is he calm because he's under the impression that they could still be alive, the children? This, of course, would involve other people. I think that every avenue should be kind of put on the table, not saying that we have to believe it, but how else do we explain him being so calm? I don't know. Calm because he was already detached from his family. All he could care about was the skanky booty. We'll just leave that up on the screen and say all he cared about was NK, the mistress. Yes, I agree. That could definitely be it too. Being Bio Girl says both things can be true at once. Agree. Definitely agree. Do you think sleep deprivation had something to do with this case, getting up at 4 a.m.? I think yes. And the Thrive patches, specifically the Black Label. Apparently he was doubling up on them. Those are loaded with caffeine. Not that I believe every word that she says, but remember NK speaking about he would just start passing out in the middle of them talking. And so it does seem like he had a lack of sleep. I think that there was drug use also with NK. Not that we can really prove it because we don't have a drug test or anything like that, but just little things along the way, hints and all that. Her Googling the rehab center, him Googling Oxy 80, just, you know, little things have kind of made us think like maybe they were using drugs together. I think that sleep deprivation definitely is a factor in this case, personally.
4 o'clock, 4:30. I'll usually be home by then. I can go pick them up. I go in there, sign them out, get them in the car, drive back. They'll be screaming the whole way because they want mommy. Because that's what they do after a long day of school. And get home. Shanann will have something for the girls, being whatever they want. Either might be pizza. Sometimes they want French fries. Sometimes they want chicken nuggets. Sometimes kibasi. Just whatever. Most of them they have butter noodles. They love that.
Okay.
So wash their hands, sit them at the table, and they'll eat their dinner.
Okay, so I have to pull up the other video file, remove this one, and it continues here.
I'm all washed up, get the dry some lotion, get the pajamas on, back downstairs, have a little nighttime snack. They'll take it, Cheez-Its, little wafers, something like that. And they'll sit in their little couches and they'll watch a cartoon until about 7 o'clock, and then.
Yes, I seen that about the purple one about Kevin Albert when I was in moderating for criminality. Crazy. Paul said she got arrested for underage drinking. I believe it was a DUI. And then she got arrested for disorderly conduct. Maybe she was drinking at that house party that happened at. I can't remember. But yes, Being Bio Girl says, trust me, I have no doubt that NK and him were doing drugs together. Adrian says, I get the impression he was on drugs at home with the police. Maybe his rocking back and forth and all that. I could see it. What was Anadarko's drug policy, testing policy? So they did drug tests, but I don't know. My understanding is it's when you get hired and then they'll randomly do one. But the thing is, certain drugs are out of your system within like a couple days. So much like sometimes military people, they'll use, and then over the weekend, and then by the time work week starts again, they're okay in case they get tested randomly and they kind of chance it. So I know people, I shouldn't say I know people, but I know that people still use drugs when they're drug tested at their jobs. Oh, interesting. My randoms are follicle. Yeah, that could be a problem then. I wonder. I don't know much about what they do in the oil companies. I know that they're desperate for oil workers, so I really don't know. Yeah, these drugs listed here by Being Bio Girl are out of your system within 3 days. And that might be out of your system without a hair follicle, just a urinary sample. I recall he was taking Thrive patches called Duo Burn, which was 2 patches. I think NK was doing drugs with him. I do too. Again, I don't know how they would have risked it, but I know that people still risk things. Drug testing in Colorado is different in every company. Some say they have a policy, but won't test unless there is an incident. Yeah, I was going to say, unless there's like a suspicion or something like that. Hey, Zawoki, good to see you. Yeah, follicles definitely go back. So if it was, we don't know if that's what it was, but that definitely would have. But think about it, and I know not everyone's on board with it, but if they were planning this explosion, which would have led to the life insurance money and then a payout from wrongful death lawsuit from Anadarko, much like the house explosion, all the information is linked in the description box for anyone who doesn't know any of that. I don't think he would have been working at Anadarko, you know, once he got that payout. And again, it's just a theory, but I just think that maybe it was worth the risk to him, knowing their plan could have been that explosion. Again, you'd have to just bear with me on that theory. Nell says sleep deprivation, weed, possibly amphetamines. Remember when, what's her name? Jane, the dog handler, walks into the disheveled office of Shanann's, remember? She says, do they smoke marijuana or something along the lines of smelling marijuana? And so that led us to think that, okay, somebody in that house was smoking in the office. And then in the prison interview, Chris talks about the smell of Shanann when she's supposedly in the truck deceased. And I say supposedly because no cadaver alerted to death in the truck. The dog alerted to a scent of one of the living people missing. So they had the tracking dogs and the cadaver dogs go to his truck. And they picked up a scent of one of the people who were missing. So in my mind, that's because the children left with Chris alive. But anyways, Chris talks about how she emptied her bowels and it smelled like skunk. I've never heard, and again, I don't know firsthand. I don't know if anyone in this chat knows or replay viewers. I've never heard anyone describe death as smelling like skunk. I have heard of people describing marijuana smelling like skunk, though. Just throwing that out there.
Between 6:30 and 7, we're giving them the medicine and any medicine they need at that point in time, if one of them has fever or whatever else. And then brush her teeth, upstairs, Cece gets an overnight diaper, Bella doesn't, and read him a book. Cece usually wants the tiger book, and I read that to her. We growl out the last part, turn the rain machines on.
Is that what you said, she's your tiger?
Yes.
Does that come to mind?
Yes.
Okay.
And turn the rain machines on, give both kids good night. Cece wants me to put her to bed, Bella wants Shanann to put her to bed, and close the door, and night-night.
Okay. All right. Can we talk a little bit about the morning that they disappeared? We already talked about 4 o'clock alarm, prep until 4:15. Correct me if I'm wrong. 4:15, this challenging talk starts. You leave somewhere around 5:30ish, 5:20 something, 5:27. And then what was your day like?
So I went out to locations.
Where's that?
The oil locations.
Oh, locations. Okay.
Yeah. So I worked out on those oil locations until 12:10. That's when I got the doorbell visitor notification.
And see how he had to check his written notes there? I worked at those oil locations until, and then he looks at his sheet and he does that stupid clicking noise that he does where he's like 12:10. Like, I'm sorry, but you shouldn't have to refer to your notes. This is the 14th. This is the day after. Maybe I'm just being too critical, but You would just think that he'd be able to answer that question to Coder without looking at his notes. To me, it just seems like he has one story, he's got to stick to it, and the whole story is a lie.
What do you do out there? What do you do at work?
I'll operate the oil and gas locations we have running.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like either maintenance or just like inspections or like trying to get them running again type of thing.
And are you the guy with the wrench or are you the boss?
I'm one of the field coordinators.
Okay.
So like the area we have is like really it's really big. So like I have me and 2 other guys are field coordinators. Then we have 2 rovers, which they like go around to the area and they help other operators. Then we have 6 route operators.
Okay.
So the field coordinators, we kind of get everybody like, all right, this is what we're going to do today type thing, and disperse type thing.
So then when you left at 5:30, which location did you go to?
So the Survey 319,
which is
generally a well location.
It's a well location.
Yeah, we have the Survey 1029.
Survey?
Yeah, it's just well names.
Survey.
So here he is giving them, hey, Kelt and Holly, glad you guys are here. Here he is giving the exact locations of where he was that day. And you would think now would be the time that he would, and again, this is just a theory. What if he's not the one that disposed of the bodies there? If he was the one who disposed of the bodies there, why isn't he lying here? You know, I mean, I guess that they would end up tracking his GPS in his truck anyways. But again, if he's going to lie, you would think it would be now to lie about where he was. He said Survey 319 really quickly and confidently. Dawn, you're funny. Hey, Llama Mama, good to see you. I would think being in safety, it would be up to NK to decide who gets tested. Oh, that's interesting. Like about the drug test. I wonder.
Yeah.
Like SERBY?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then there was 1129, and we say the 1029 most of the day.
And so these are numbers I don't even understand.
There's like section number, well number type.
And so he says, I stayed at the 1029 most of the day. So that's interesting too, because, which I'm curious if anyone has ever laid out like how long he spent at certain survey sites. And the survey sites are the oil sites where the tanks are that he's working on. 319 was the one that had the leak. 319 is the crime scene where they were disposed of. Now, if he spent most of his time, which we have seen in the discovery and through statements from his coworkers that he was at Survey 1029 for a good portion of the morning, how is he disposing of all the bodies while he's at a different oil site? Just something to kind of ponder, guys. I'm not saying it's impossible that he, couldn't have been at 1029 and disposed of the bodies at 319, but I'm just laying it out there that he did spend a significant amount of time at 1029. And he's, Nicole Atkinson shows up around noon. So he doesn't have that much time. Is his GPS info in the discovery? I'd like to dig into it more. Yes, it is. If you know how you can word search in the discovery, word search geotab or Husky, because Husky is like the name of something related to the GPSs on the truck. You might fall down a rabbit hole. I don't think they checked the truck or they would have hit on the smell. They did check the truck. The problem is they needed to get a search warrant to open the doors, but cadaver dogs can smell death with closed doors. So they went all around the truck, smelled it, no alert to death. There is no video of them checking the truck. You don't have to watch the video, but there is supplemental reports in the discovery files that the officers wrote on their findings for the truck and the dogs. So if you search in the discovery the word dogs, you'll fall down a rabbit hole of everything that the search dogs and the cadaver dogs were alerted to. Brody says she said in her interview she had been sick and her dad said she had been throwing up and couldn't keep anything down. They found vomit at the disposal site. Just saying, that's things I noticed. Exactly. And Chris isn't sick at all. And this is 24 hours later in this interview. that smell of oil and the fumes, I mean, they have to wear protective hazmat stuff when they, you know, are emptying those tanks, when they're working near them. They have to be very careful. Some oil workers pass out and die just from the fumes. So it's a hazard for sure. It can make you very, very sick. And NK and her friend, Leave Jim Alone, were sick, according to NK and her father. It was when NK said it was her dream job, I wonder if she was telling the truth. See, I think that the dream job aspect has to do with the explosion also. That's just my opinion. You know, she gets to be the safety person and kind of set this whole thing up and plan something that they thought was going to make them a lot of money. That's my opinion, of course. Something else I wanted to touch on in the comment section before. Hey, Missy, good to see you. So the dogs aren't on camera, unfortunately, at the truck. So like I said, you'd have to search, and this takes digging, dogs in the discovery files, and then you'll read the supplemental reports. Queen, member for 1 month. Thank you so much. Chris apparently lives a very lonely existence now. Yeah. And I think, honestly, he's okay with that. He's kind of a loner, in my opinion. I don't think any dead person was ever in the truck. I think they were all taken out the back. I do too. And I think the kids left alive in the truck. Thank you so much, Shay. She says, love what you do. Keep up the good work. You are greatly appreciated. Thank you. I appreciate that, guys.
Okay, that's how they name them.
Okay, so then it might be that, God forbid, 2 weeks from now, we're still looking for them, and it's going to be very important that all of this can jar your memory, right?
Yeah.
So I'm taking notes. So Serby, what?
So we have the 1129.
Where do you go first?
The 319.
319. Where and what crossroads would that be?
Oh, it's
1129, 1029, 319. Those are the places that his truck were at that morning.
out on the ranch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Serby 319. Okay.
Yeah.
How long were you at Serby 319?
Probably about an hour.
Okay. Just telling the boys what to do?
I was out there checking a line that we had leaking on Friday.
Okay. Okay, and that took about an hour?
Yep.
Then what?
Went to the 1129.
Okay. Again, is that just in the middle of a ranch?
Yeah, it's the same ranch.
Okay. Oh, so how far away?
Not far.
Walking distance?
No.
Oh,
walk.
That's a big ranch.
Yeah, you don't drive there.
Okay. How long were you at 1129?
Probably about 20 minutes or so.
Doing what?
I was just doing an inspection over there. See if I can get the welder run again.
Okay.
That's one you have to kind of run manually.
Okay. And then where?
The 1029. We were there most of the rest of the day.
Doing what?
We're trying to get a pumping unit to pump back up. And stuffing box rubbers were leaking and the rods were smoking, so we had to replace them. That's what took a very long time.
And how long were you out there?
The rest until 12:10.
So 6-7 hours?
Well, yeah, like,
5, 6,
yeah.
okay.
At least like 5 hours. It seemed like 5 to 6
And
hours.
were there people with you?
Oh yeah, there are people with me. Like, I gave them the names.
Okay.
There was,
the police now?
yeah, Troy McCoy, Chad McNeil, Melissa Parrish, Cody Roberts. They were all out there with me.
Okay.
Notice Troy is one of the first ones he mentioned out there with him. Just to touch on questions in the chat real quick, Cindy asked, is there a video you can watch of the unidentified woman going to the Watts house in September? So I know that other channels have covered that. We haven't dug into that here specifically. We will. So you'd have to kind of search, I guess, that topic and find it. It is mentioned in the discovery files itself. Tony says no one was hurt in the house. In my opinion, Shanann was drugged, in my opinion. Yes, I think so too. Definitely drugged, sedated, somehow, some way, shape, or form, maybe even taken by gunpoint, maybe both, and taken out the back. I don't think the kids were killed until Monday by his accomplices when the plan was botched by Nicole Atkinson calling law enforcement. Right there with you, Florida. I definitely think that she spoiled their plans for sure. Something wasn't completed, which is why Chris kept mentioning, and even Sandy says this, that he kept saying that he had to get back to work. He needed to go back to work, blah, blah, blah. He even says, which we've gone through the body cam footage, where he's asking the cops, should I go drive around? I think that him driving around looking for them was just going to be him going back to complete the plan. And the cop told him, no, don't do that. Never happened. I agree. The kids were an afterthought. Yes, I think that things fell apart. They had seen and heard too much. And Chris, in my opinion, was told, you follow through with this plan or we're going to kill your family completely, even the kids. And the plan didn't go through. And that's, you know, they followed through with their threats, because the kids can't tell people that they were being held or that, you know, so-and-so had them. And they were smart. They could, you know, describe what was going on. So they needed to be silenced. By the way, I found that during Troy McCoy's interview, he brings up the geotab location stuff and tells the officers detailed times of when Chris and him were out there, where they were. Yes. And Troy is the one who was at the crime scene before any cops were there. And that's another topic we'll have to get into. Not when we do these breakdowns of the FBI interviews. So I think, like we did before we broke these interviews down, we were kind of picking topics to kind of discuss, like, oh, the 111-minute conversation and the gunshot that was heard that night, and etc. So then we jumped into, let's review this FBI interview. So now, once this is done, which we have, let's see how many, we got like 45 minutes left of this one with Coder, which I think we're not going to get through all the way tonight, because I like to do 1.5-hour streams. We'll get back into the little topics. So we'll cover, you know, Troy McCoy at the crime scene. We'll cover the unidentified woman going into the house in September. We'll get back to the topics that we can pick apart and kind of talk about. And then, you know, we'll jump into the polygraph interview, because I'm not ready to jump in with Tammy. I can't stand Tammy. Sorry. NK said in her first interview that she thought he killed the kids because they might have seen him doing, yes. And isn't that interesting? She threw that theory out there. Maybe they saw him doing something, you know, to Shanann or whatever. Good point. Yes, exactly, Nell. I always say that. And cadaver dogs can smell a dead body 10 feet under frozen ice. Not that there's a difference between ice and frozen ice, but you guys get the point. Like, you don't need the doors to be open for the dogs to have smelled death in Chris's truck. So I believe if they did alert and showed interest in his truck, they would have got the search warrant from Anadarko, and they would have gone in there and said, yes, we got full confirmation, dog is in here. They're going crazy, but they just were not interested. They showed no interest in his truck for death. In my opinion, NK destroyed Shanann's office more than once, rifling through her household and family management papers to see what Chris is worth without his wife. Shanann asked Chris to lock her office. Yes. So she goes away to Arizona that weekend, and she texts Chris, you know, about the kids, checking in. And she says, can you make sure my office is locked? And he says, yes. So very interesting that Shanann reiterated that she wanted that office door locked. Was there cash in there? Was there checks in there? Something was valuable in her office. And I just don't think she would have left it in shambles like it was found. I think Chris thought the girls would be okay during the porch interview. I do too. And I think that they were freaked out by the way that he's on the media saying, like, if somebody has them, please bring them back. Like, I think that they thought, like, this guy's about to tell on us. The fact that you let your girls get murdered speaks volumes of him. And I think he's effing heartless. I do too. Hey, Christina, good to see you. It's okay that you're late. We're just happy you're here. Do you think NK was strategic with the way that she worded things to Chris, that he could think to murder his family, like her saying, go spend time? Yeah, I definitely think that she put manipulation tactics and all that on with him, for sure. She manipulated him in every way that you could, with sex, with guilt. I believe that she was telling him that Shanann was cheating on him, that the baby might not have been his. And she mentions that in her interview too, her FBI interview. She said that Chris said that he didn't think the baby was his and that she was cheating. But I think that it was Shanann who said, I think your wife's cheating on you. Look at these pictures of her with this guy on these Thrive trips. You're not there. Why are they so close? Put all this stuff in his mind. I don't think Chris is caring if they threatened his family. In my opinion, even in his prison interview, after he knew for sure that the girls were unalived, he had no emotion talking about them. See, I think in the prison interview, he's crying. Like there's times where he's crying. And at sentencing, you can see tears and he's crying when they're talking about what Bella went through. Seemed kind of news to him, but that's just my opinion. Again, we don't have the video of the prison interview, so I can't say for sure he's crying, but in my opinion, it sounds like he's crying through some of the discussions, only with the kids though, not Shanann. Tony says, I think someone else hurt the girls, but I'm not 100% sure about Shanann. Same. Okay, let's listen to more of Chris's lies. You guys got good comments though, so I'll pull them up on screen too.
And you said you called home at 7:30 or so?
I texted 7:40.
Okay. And that was something like a, where are you?
Yeah, I couldn't go back that far on my phone to see when I called, but I did call her 2 or 3 times during that.
And why then? Was that a better part of the day for you to text?
Yeah, because like I was, at that point in time, like I was actually trying to call my foreman and everything else, just to talk to him, to tell him what I found. And it kept just like, it wouldn't ring out there.
What you found, what do you mean?
The line that was leaking. Yeah, like we had a bypass line, back pressure line that was tied into a down commando oil tank, and it was leaking on the ground.
Okay.
But like, I was not getting any phone calls through, so that's why I was texting.
Okay.
In December.
Okay. You can imagine that every day that goes by.
And notice Coder says, how old are they? And he says 4 and 3. Bella will be 5 in September or in December. We've talked about on the last one how he'll use past tense talking about them. And then other times he doesn't use past tense. This instance, he's not using past tense. He doesn't say she would have been 5 in December. He's speaking of them as if they're still alive. Just saying, not saying that he doesn't know that they're gone. I'm just saying. I'm just pointing it out. Is there proof that NK was involved? Only circumstantial. Only circumstantial. And the investigation was not completed. So we'll never know if her DNA was there, if her handprints were here or there. We just don't know.
It's harder to find.
Where we don't find your girls. It's going to get harder to find. We're going to have less clues. Things that we need to get and we need to use, the methods that we need to do to find them are going to start getting blown away by weather, getting re-recorded over themselves at the surveillance store that's going to tell us. All of that is going to disappear, okay? And that's why we're going to spend so much time today, tomorrow, as in the front as we can, right? You can also imagine that every day that goes by, we're going to be looking for the man who did this, okay? And you can imagine that we're going to include you as that man. So, let's talk about that. I think that you're trying to put on a brave face because you're a man and you're just don't believe some of the things you're telling me. Okay, I just don't. I simply do not believe you.
And I think Coder is right on point, and I think he's being honest with Chris. I think there's stuff you're not telling me. I don't believe what you're spinning. And I think that Coder is under the impression that there's more to all this. Chris is involved, but there's more.
What makes you think? What have I said that makes you not believe me at all?
This just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't add up. So can we talk about two Chris's? Okay.
Two Chris's.
The tale of two Chris's? Okay.
Another thing, now that we have, really studied this case and Chris over these last 6 years since 2018. Oh God. Can't even believe we're discussing this guy that long. But I think that this is another instance where Coder is so on point with how he's reading Chris. There are many faces to Chris. Not even just two. Like he's using this example. Let's talk about the two Chris's. I think that Chris has so many different faces. He's got the face that he shows Shanann, his wife, the husband. He's got his dad face. He's got his coworker, the face that the coworkers see. He's got the face that NK and her friends saw. He very much a chameleon. Face that his family sees, the face that the inmates nowadays see. It's very much he adapts to what he needs to adapt to, and he doesn't know his true self, in my opinion.
And you need to help me know which Chris I'm looking at today and which Chris you really are. So, Chris number one is right here, right? And fell out of love with his wife. Okay. Started wondering what it might be. He didn't have a wife to take care of and a girl to take care of. Spent some time alone. Liked that time alone. Came home. May or may not have had a conversation about how to get out of this marriage or how to fix it, but probably how to get out of it. Is looking at a bachelor pad in Brighton and did something terrible to his wife and kids. And that may have been an accident. And I think it was an accident.
That's not the Chris you're looking at right now.
Yeah, the Chris that Coder is looking at right now is the saving face. I'm going to lie until, I can't lie anymore, until I'm pretty much in handcuffs after the polygraph interview the next day. He can try to salvage himself right now to Coder, but it obviously doesn't work.
No. The Chris you're looking at is the man who loves these kids and loves his wife and will never, ever, ever do anything to harm them. That's the Chris you're looking at right now. The Chris you're looking at right now wants these kids and his wife back at his house right now. That's the Chris you're looking at.
Why didn't you call 911?
I didn't think anything was wrong.
I think you knew what was wrong.
I did not know what was wrong, sir. I promise you that.
What do you think it's going to look like when someone finds out that it was not you that called 911?
Everybody's going to have their own perception about what's going on here, but I know my wife. I know that sometimes she doesn't text me back.
See, and exactly like we talked about in, I don't know if it was part 1 or part 2, but when Coder finds out that Nicole Atkinson is the one that called 911, not Chris, that was going to look very unfavorable to Chris. as the husband. You're being told that the car's still there, that Shanann's shoes are seen right in this inside window, the shoes she always wears. No one knows where they are. She's not answering her phone. I knew that was going to bite him in the butt, because here's Coder saying, and what do you think everyone's going to think when they find out you weren't the one that called 911? Yeah, he didn't call 911 because he was busy calling the realtor and his kid's school and not trying to alert the cops. He thought like, oh crap, everything's going to fall apart if they get involved. So I'm going to try to handle this without them getting involved. And plus, if there are accomplices involved and he's calling 911, the accomplices are going to be like, great, he's going to rat us out. So there was no way that Chris, if others are involved, was going to call 911.
I know that happens. I've been there. It's happened multiple times throughout many days. If she's busy with work, it doesn't happen. That's why it didn't register for me that day.
We're back to a tale of two Chris's, Chris.
Okay.
There's a Chris who cares.
I care. I promise.
Tell me about the call to your daycare.
He always does that like laugh, that duper delight, smile and laugh. I care. No.
Primrose. I called them to see if the girls were there. He said they weren't there.
Okay.
I told him since they weren't there, just put them back on the waiting list.
Okay, so this we have heard in the discovery files. He called the school and asked if they were there. And they said no, they weren't there. And then he says, okay, can you put them back on the waiting list? So, again, you could interpret that as, he was just trying to make it look like, much like he did with the hospital calls. Remember, he said he called around the hospitals and none of them had heard from him, heard about Shanann, or Shanann wasn't at any of the hospitals. Now, is that what he did at the daycare? I'll make it seem like I'm checking the daycare. Or, again, you have to be open-minded on this channel. Is he, in a sense, at a point where somebody did have the children? Oh, you're going to go home, the cops are there? We're going to hold on to your kids and you can come back and finish the plan, which would have involved the explosion and disposing of Shanann, etc. So then he can't get a hold of the people and his kids, so he calls the school. Maybe they brought them there. Again, just saying, you have to be able to look at things from different angles, because we just don't know the truth in this case.
That's not what you told me.
I told them that we were going to sell the house. Or we could put it on the market, or probably won't be in the area anymore.
That's two different things, Chris.
Well, I wanted them to be back on put them on the waiting list since they weren't there.
Why weren't they there?
I don't know.
Where were they going to go?
They went to Shanann took them to a friend's house.
Why wasn't they go to daycare?
I am not sure. Honestly, sir, I am not sure.
It's hard for me.
So, Angela, we had discovered through one of our deep dives that his phone calls to the hospitals only lasted, like, I think it said 7 seconds or something like that. And then the detective that was on this case called those same hospitals and acted like he was looking for a patient just to test to see how long those calls would take. And it was obviously longer than 7 seconds. So that's how they configured that he just faked those phone calls and wasn't even trying to find Shanann at those hospitals. So you can call a hospital, because actually Johnny, who's handing out tacos in chat, we didn't hear from him for like a week. Johnny here. And we were concerned. And one of the things we talked about doing was, okay, should we call the hospitals and see if they have Johnny at the hospital? And they'll let you know if there's a patient. I've never personally done it, but from what we found out in this case, he was calling them, not really speaking to anybody, but acting like he was. And then to kind of follow up on the investigation, hey, Scottish Queen, the detectives called and realized that, like, no, those conversations last much longer than 7 seconds. So he was just faking it. Kelt says, yeah, Taco Johnny, we were worried about you. Yes, we're all glad that Johnny was okay.
The father to talk to you about this. Not because it's the hard issue to talk about. It's because I'm worried about your daughters under your care.
You shouldn't have to worry about them under my care. I watched them all weekend. I went to a pool party at Jeremy Lindstrom's house. It's like, I love those kids with all my heart. And nothing in this world would ever make me do anything to these kids or my wife.
Once again, and we'll leave it there because we're at an hour and a half. Nothing would ever make me do anything to those kids or my wife. I don't know. A little bit of truth in there, some lies in there. Definitely always think that Shanann is an afterthought when he's trying to convince people like, oh, yes, my wife, Shanann. Oh, and Shanann. No. You were done with Shanann. But yes, so we have reached an hour and a half. Okay, Pointer Lover says she's called hospitals and they will tell you. So we'll continue this, guys. Let's see how much we got left. We got like a little around 39 minutes left of this FBI interview. Not a lot of likes in this time around, looking through his statements with Coder. So that was another thing that I kind of noticed too. You know, once he's lying, it's like. Code blue, body cam footage. He didn't care about Shanann, but I don't believe he killed the girls. That's pretty much where we're at least my opinion. Johnny, stop. But yeah, I guess we'll leave it there. You know, we'll reevaluate this. The clock is at 22:12, so we'll know where to pick up. This is the day after they went missing, aka killed, supposedly. Right, exactly. Or my wife. She's always the afterthought in him trying to prove his innocence and him trying to explain, like, I didn't do this. I didn't do this. I wouldn't do this to my kids. I didn't hurt my kids. I didn't hurt my babies or my wife. Not buying it. Not buying completely his story. Chris Watts is one of the most hated men in America. Agree there. And don't you guys think it's interesting that they haven't had like a mainstream media show like about this case in a while? Have you guys noticed that? Like, we had the Netflix documentary, which was years ago, but there really hasn't been anything. I mean, there's been stuff on Lifetime. There's been stuff on the ID network. I don't know. I just feel like, I don't know. I just find it interesting because there's so many people who are still interested in this case and trying to understand it. But mainstream just seems like they don't want to talk about it. See, I don't agree, Mundy. Like, I don't, for what? It's an open and shut case. I don't think this case is open and shut at all. I think that the mainstream media wants us to think that. I think the district attorney wants us to think that, but I think it's much deeper. All right, guys. Hey, Jody is cool. We're ending the stream, but I'm so happy to see you. He's changed his story too many times, so I don't think they want to keep covering it. That's true. We have 3+ confessions from him. I think the mainstream media are done with it. No, it's far from open and shut. I'm part of Facebook discussion groups about this case, and people post every day. This is one of the most discussed cases. So many unanswered questions. Yep. Definitely agree. Lifetime movie was terrible, made NK look innocent and blamed Thrive. Even Shanann's family don't support that Lifetime movie. All right, guys. I appreciate Melly, Johnny, all my moderators, Pointer Lover, Adrian, Bean Bio Girl, Florida Bass. You guys are awesome. Scottish Queen. Holly was here too. So I appreciate all my mods, all my members, everyone who donated. I appreciate you guys so much. Even if you guys just participated in chat and hit the like button, you know, I love you. So thank you so much. I've not seen the Lifetime movie. You can find it on YouTube, I think. Thank you so much, Pointer Lover. Yes, I always pin my documentary I did at the top of chat, and then I pin it in the comment section. It's also in the description box. So if you want more information about the documentary, it's in the description box. If you want more information about certain theories that we discuss, all those links are in the description box. There's just so many rabbit holes to jump down. So unfortunately, we'll be jumping down some more, usually on a weekly basis. Sometimes I take some time off from it, but the next live stream, what I wanted to do, I don't know if I'll be able to go live tomorrow night, guys. I was just told by my husband that he might be like doing some work dinner late. If I go live, it might be later than like my usual time. We'll see. I'll keep you guys updated. But I wanted to do a watch and react to Gypsy Rose's pregnancy announcement. So that's what I wanted to do next, hopefully tomorrow or Thursday. And then we're going to dig back into the Stephen Stearns documents about the investigation into Madeline Soto's death. And then also read through part 2 of the Idaho 4 book. What was it called again? Gosh. Let's see. By Howard Bloom. See, I know the author at least. When the Night Comes Falling. So we read part 1 last week, and we need to continue it. So we're continuing that and other deep dives. So yeah, the pregnancy. Yeah, that was big news today, right? Gypsy Rose is a piece of work. Right. I want to watch the video live and do a reaction with you guys. Yes, she is pregnant. She's got a YouTube channel. She posted about it. So hopefully I can do the watch and react to that tomorrow night. Did you watch Casey Anthony? Yes, I watched that trial when I was on a cruise. Actually, in the room, we were watching the trial while we were on our vacation. So that was an interesting one and definitely shocking and very sad because I think it was unfortunately, justice was not served in that. But yes, anyways, goodbye, everybody. Johnny is not claiming the pregnancy of Gypsy. He says, sorry. All right, you're off the hook for that one. Great topics. Okay, well, I hope to see you guys at all the other live streams too. I do more than just Watts deep dives, guys. I know you guys love this case, but show up for the other live streams too. We have a good time. Yeah, so we'll discuss more on another night, hopefully tomorrow night. If not, I'll see you guys Thursday. So good night, everybody. Let me just remove this and I'll talk to you guys very soon. And good night.